So assalamu alaikum everyone. So welcome to our p5.js training. So we're going to learn how we can draw this HUD using JavaScript with the use of p5.js. We're going to start by understanding the dimensions of this sketch. What we have here is 8 boxes along the horizontal, so we can count by 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So each boxes is 50 pixel, so giving us 400. At the same time, along the vertical we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So we go to our p5.js editor like so, and we'll make sure that you log in, and you can always rename this. I'm going to say the so then it's always good we use the guide. So go to p5js.org and we go to the references. Okay, let's head back to the sketch. Now, how do we draw this diagram? If you look at the roof of this hut, it's not really a clear rectangle, so the shape we could use is a line. So now let's look at what the line is on the ref. So if you go to 2D primitives and you go to the line, we have the line to have 4 parameters. Okay, and we can control the thickness of the line using the stroke function, and how thick is going to be using the stroke width. If we look at the syntax and we look at this, we need line, then we need to provide x1 and y1, which represent the starting point of the line, and likewise we need x2 and y2, which represent the ending of the line. So I'm going to copy this syntax and I'm going to paste it here on my sketch. Then what I'm going to do here is to put a comment, and I'm going to call it the rooftop. Now we are required to provide these 4 values, and let's see how we can do that from the diagram we are provided with. Okay, so if you look at this diagram, so this is the 0 point and this is the 400. So this is 50. So we can say that our x1 is 50 and our x2, oh no, this cannot be 50 because we have some extra space here. So that means that this is like 60, if that makes sense. Then if we take a look at this, if this is 10 and this is 50, so everything here also is 60. But at this point, what would then be this point here? So it then means that if you take away 400, if you take away 60 from 400, this is going to be 340. So that will be our x2. Okay, so now we know our x1 and we know our x2. So gonna apply, I don't know, Okay, think I can just undo, set the image. Okay, so I need back the pen. So this is going to be 60 because of this extra space. So this is 50, and I'm just thinking of this to be like 10. This is also 10, and this is 60. So, and this is 400 here. So this makes this to be 340 along the y-axis. So, okay. Now, how about the the y? The y, this is 0 point, and this is 400. So which means that we can take this to be 50. So this is going to be my y1, and this is also going to be my y2. So if we translate this into a code, we are going to have x1 to be 60, which represents the starting, and y1 is going to be 50, and x2 is going to be the other end of the roof, which is 400 minus 60, which is 340, and my y2 is going to be 50 because it is on the same line. We want to have a straight line, so they are all on the same y-axis. Okay, so let's run this, and we're going to have this line. Awesome. Now we want to have another line here that is going to extend from the beginning of this line and is going to end at somewhere here, and we can begin to think of this as maybe 50, of course, and another 50. So if it goes like this up to 100, then it's going to touch this edge here. So we can say that it's going to start from the same point at the roof. So I'm going to make a comment, and I'm going to say the roof left side, and is going to have line 60 because it's going to start at those points on the same level x and y. So that's the reason why I'm having 60 and 50, because it's going to start from here, but it's going to end here at 0 because x is 0 on the left. Okay, so my x2 is going to be 0, and my y is going to be somewhere here, which is going to be like 100, but we can confirm that from our diagram. So if we look at this now, so if it extends like this, so okay, so that means we are having like 3 boxes. So that makes this to be 150 because this is 50, 100, 150. So this point x is 0 here, and x is 400 here. Okay, like we have it here already, and here is 150. Okay, so let's see how we can translate that into code. So we're going to have x is 0, that is x2 is 0, and y is 150. Awesome. So now we have this extending like this, touching the edge. What if we don't want it to touch the edge? So what we're going to do is we're going to move it inward, right? So by moving it inward, then it's going to be from 0, then with an increasing number. Then what if we make it like 10? That is our x2. Don't forget the first two values is this point here, and the second point are these values here. So we want to make x2 to be 10 so that it's going to move this inward a little bit. So let's see that. Awesome. So this is nice. So we're going to replicate the same thing here as we have it on the roof left side. So I'm going to make a comment here, and I'm going to call this one roof right side. The roof right side is also going to have a line, but this time around, the starting point of this side that is going to extend towards the edge here is going to start from where this rooftop ends. So I'm going to take the last two values, that is my x2 and y2 for the rooftop. So that will be the starting point of this. Then I need to grab my x. My x, if it needs to touch the edge, if this is 0 on the left, then this is 400. Then we can start by saying this is 400, and it's going to be on the same y-axis. This is 150 already, so it's going to be 150. So that's the reason why we have it here. So it's going to be 150, just like we have this to be 150. That is the ending of this roof left side, your y2. So if we run this, we're going to have this. Now I don't want it to touch the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 10 from 400, because this is 400. So that is x2. So if I subtract 10 from it, it's going to be somewhere here. So let's do that. So instead of 400, we subtract 10 from it, and we're going to have 390. And that gives us this. Awesome. Now we need to join this line so that we can form what we have here. So we need to join this line here. So how do we do that? So the way to go about it is quite easy, because if you look at this line, this horizontal line here, the starting point is the ending point of the left roof. That is, wherever this line ends, that will be the starting point. And the ending point is wherever this other line ends. Very simple, right? So let's see how we can achieve that. So I wouldn't know what we are going to call this. So we can maybe call it roof bottom. Okay. And we're going to have line. And this time around, we said that is the starting point is wherever this left side stops, because it's going to be on the same side here, which is about 10 inward and 150 on the y-axis. So I'm just going to take 10 inward and 150 here. That is where this ends. And also this one here is going to end, that is this horizontal line here, is going to end at wherever this line ends, which is going to be like, that is minus 10 from the edge here, which is 390, and on the same level of 150. Okay, so that is going to be this. So that is where this right side ends, and I'm going to press it there. So because of reference, we can say that line. Okay, so line typically takes in the syntax is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. So you can be able to cross-reference that. So if we run this now, we see that the line join perfectly. So if we want to increase the thickness of this line, we can look at the documentation, and it already give us a line width. Okay, so we can say stroke, which is stroke width. So we can stroke width. So we can define the stroke. Oh no. So we can define the stroke width here. Stroke width. And we can set a color by picking a color from Google Color Picker. So if you search for Google Color Picker, you can choose any maybe something like this, and you can paste it right here as a string. Okay. So if we do that here is, oh no, stroke width, my bad. Stroke width takes in numerical number, so maybe 10. So how thick the line is going to be, but stroke itself is the one that takes in, okay, now I have double apostrophe. So it's the one that takes in the string. So sorry. So I need to delete one of this, and then it's going to give me this color. All right, awesome. So I hope it's clear. Now, how about drawing the body of the house? So what do we do? Let's head back to the sketch we have here. So I'm going to clear all of this. That way I can undo all of this so that we just left with this. So now if you look at this diagram, we want to draw a, we can draw a line that is going to have a starting point here, and it's going to have an ending point here, and wherever this line ends is going to be the starting point of this line and this. So that's and wherever this line ends, so that's where this line also ends, it's going to end where this horizontal line ends, and the starting point of this is going to be here. So we can do that, and that will require us to have another 4 lines or 3 lines of code, because we're going to have a line code for this, another statement for this, another statement of this. So but we can actually use a rectangle. So the choice for a rectangle is because rectangle is going to allow me to be able to give a predefined height and a predefined width. Okay, so let's see. Let's head back to the, the documentation here, and let me search for rect. So we have a rectangle. Do we have a rectangle? Rec. I think we have a function. We can't find rect, but we know we have rect. So that's the function rect. Okay. So we have rect here. So rect, a rectangle is a four-sided shape defined by x, which is going to be the x position of the top left corner. So whenever you are drawing a rectangle, the top left corner is going to be the position of x, and okay, I think I click something. So then y is going to be the y-axis of the top left corner, and the width and the height. So let's see how we can do that. And the syntax for your rectangle is rect. X is the x position of the top left corner, y is the y-axis, the width, the height. This is the radius, top left radius, top right radius. Then we can do this, okay? So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. So I'm going to call this the hot body, okay? Then I'm going to paste this syntax here so that I can remove this optional argument. So we need the height actually. So we can guesstimate what we want, or we just take a look at the dimension from the diagram we have here. So if you look at the diagram we have here, we can say that our x extend from somewhere like um, maybe this is 50. You can see that is x is this is 50 from the 0 position here. So this is going to be my x, and this is 50, this is 100, and this is 150. So my y is going to be 150. Okay, so that is referencing this point. Okay, so now I have my x. So x is 50, y is 150, going by this diagram. Okay, then how about my width? How wide do I want this to go? So let's count this. This is 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, and 300. So this is 300 in terms of width. Okay, then in terms of height, so we're going to look at the height here. How tall do we want this to be? So this is 50, each box is 50. So this is 1, this is 50 plus another 50, making 100, 150, and 200. So our W is 300 and our H is 200. So let's see how we can translate this into a code. So X is 150, sorry, X is 50 and Y is 150. So let's see that. So we said X is 50. So it's going to start somewhere here. And Y is 150. It's going to start where this starts because Y is 150 at this point. That is your bottom. If you look at your bottom, is Y is 150. Then the width is going to be 300, and height is going to be 200. So let's see if that works. Awesome. So this is nice. So we got exactly what we set out to draw. So you may be wondering, where is the other end of this? So if I change the stroke color to like maybe red, and I draw this, you can see that it's on top of this. Okay, so but I'm going to remove this. We don't need to change the color except we want to. We can change the color, but at the same time we can give it a fill color, right? So we can say fill. I think there is a command called fill. So let's search for fill. Is it Control K? Search for fill, and the fill takes in color here. See, so we can take fill and copy out this, or we can pick a contrasting color that's going to match. So we can take maybe something like this. We just want to be creative. Okay, so fill is going to give this some nice color here, and here we have a hot color. Okay, awesome. So what is left? So we can remove all of this. I don't know if what's this? I don't know. I don't know. So what this? Okay. So I think I can just like undo all of this. Sorry about that. Okay, so now what do we do here? Given what we have here, this is 300. Can I draw here? No. This is 300 and this is 200. Okay. In terms of height here, this is 200. These are pixels, okay? Now, what do we do? How do we quantify or how do we get the dimension of our, our window now? So what comes to my mind is dividing this into 3 equal paths. Okay, can you see that? So if we divide this into 3 equal parts, then we can decide on how wide do we want this window to be. So this is 1/3, this is 1/3, and this is 1/3, right? Now, don't forget that this from here to this point is 50, right? Okay, so which means that this is 50, this is 100, this is 150, this is 200, this is 250, this is 300, and this point is 350. Okay, now if I want to make the dimension of the window to be, say for example, to be 40, maybe 40. So if this is 40, for example, then it means that 1/3 makes this to be 100. So let me get another pen here. So this is 100, and so this window here, if it is 40, then, or if it is 50, for example, then okay, let's make it 50 as an example. So we can make this one to be 25 to be the extra space here, and this is 25. Now this is going to be a rectangle, and it's going to require the x, the y, the width, and the height. So we've gotten the width to be 50, okay, because we want it to be 50 here. So how do I get my x? Now from here is 0, here is 400, and here is 50, right? So I have 50 here, and I want to target this corner here. Okay, this corner here. So that is my point of reference, top left corner. So what would be the position of this corner? So if this is 50 and this is 25, so that means x is going to be 75. Okay, that's this position here on this diagram. This is 50 and this remaining space here is 25, so x is 25. So how about y? So I need to think. This is 150 because this is 1, 2, 3. That is 150. Then the window can be 200. So maybe that is here. That is 200. Okay. How about the height? So how tall do we want it to be? So now let's look at. So if this is 50 and this is 10, for example, this is 50, So the remaining small part here is maybe 5 or 10, and this is 20 here. So we can make height to be 75 as well. Okay, let's see if it works. Okay, so x is 75, y is 200, width is 50, h is 75. Let's see how that works. Okay, so we're going to put a comment here. So maybe, okay, I'm coming back to this later on. So I'm going to make a comment here and I'm going to call it our left window. So in our left window, we are using rectangle and we said our x is 75 because we want the here is 50 and we want to go in 25, so which means we are going to move in 50 and another 25 pixels, so that is 75. Then we want to start from, if this is 150, then we want the window to be somewhere here. So this point here, this is where we want, so that is why we said it's going to be 200. Then we want it to be about 50 pixel wide and 75 pixel in height. So let's see that. Okay, so this is nice. This is nice. So, but I wouldn't know if the thickness is quite much. Maybe I can reduce the stroke width for this, so I can reduce the stroke here. So I can reduce the stroke to maybe like 5. I don't know. Okay, so this is okay. And now we can replicate this for the right window. So we're going to write the right window here. Right window. Now I am going to copy and paste this and I'm going to paste it here. So this is going to allow us to be able to understand that we are controlling actually this edge now. So if I run this, nothing is going to happen. But all I just want to do is I want to add extra, I want to place this window to be here. So what I'm going to do is, if I know the position of this line, if I know where this line is, say for example, if this point to this point is 50, and I want this to go inward by 75. So what if I take 75 from 400? Okay, so let's search for calculator. Okay, so what if I take 400 minus 75? So we have 325. Okay, so what if I don't want to do that? Then I can play around with, I'm going to have the same y because this point here is going to be on the same level as this. So this point is constant. This point is constant because the width is going to be the same, right? Then the height here, which is the last argument here, is going to also be the same. So the only difference here is 75 because 75 is coming down here. So what if I make it 2 on make x to be 200, excuse me, then it's going to move this here at the center of the canvas. Okay, so what if I move it like 300? So it's going to be somewhere here, I think. So let's move x to be 300. Don't forget we are controlling the x. Every other thing remains the same. Now 300 is moving like this. So that's a bit too much. So we need to move inward. So that is going to be like maybe 375. I mean 275. So what happens to my calculation? Because, okay, see, 275. So we have this. So how do I know it's 275? Because when I made it 300, it's here. 300 is here. What if I take away 25 from here? So it will be the same here. So I take 25 from 300 and that gives me 375. So 300 minus 25, that's 275. So if we have 275 here, we have this. Okay, awesome. So what is the meaning of the remaining portion here? Because we just used 4 arguments here, x, y, w, h, are 4 values. So what's the meaning of this one here? So let's play around with this on this right window here. So if I include a value here, and let's suppose that I want the radius to be like 5. It doesn't matter, you can try any value. I just want to start with a very small value, and I'm going to make this radius, so it's going to have some curves here, and on the top right also is going to have some tops. So let's make that also 5, 5, 5. So in place of writing 5, 5, 5, you can see it gives me a kind of a curve. So instead of 5, 5, 5, I can try that here. I can just put 5 here. So it's going to be applied for the all of the 4 corners. Okay, so in place of writing 5, 5, 5, 5 here, so it's the same here. Okay, awesome. So I can delete this and make it. So that is the radius. Now the remaining part is the door. So now let's head back to our sketch and let's look at this. So it's quite rough a little bit. Let's reset the image. Okay, now don't forget that we divide this into 3 portion, and this is 1 over 3, this is 1 over 3, and this is 1 over 3. Okay, so if from here is 50, and we said that this is 100 because it's 1 over 3, don't forget that the entire body is 300. Okay, so which means that the starting point here, this edge here, is going to be 50 plus 100. So this is 150. Okay, and if we had 150 plus 100, because everything here is 100, so that means this point here is 250. So we can confirm, right? So let's see. So if this is 50, this 100, 150, 200, 250. So our calculation is correct. Let me change this marker to maybe purple. Now this point here is our interest, right? So this is 250, this is 150, this point here. But that's not really what we want here. So we want to, what is going to be the dimension of this? So if this is 100, we can take away 10 from here, maybe 10 space, 10 space here. So if I take 10, 10, 10, that would be 20. So I can make the dot to be 80, right? So now I know that W is going to be 80 wide. Then how far do we want this to go? So this is 50, 50, 50. So this is not exactly 50, but this is 50, 100. Then this is almost 50, right? So let's say that H is maybe 120. We can increase it later on. So what is X? So if you look at this now, this is 50, this is 100, this is 150. So X is 150, but not exactly, but because we want to start the drawing of the door here, so the remaining space here, this little space here, is going to be 10. So if this is 150 and this is 10, so that means this is 160, right? Okay, so this is again, this is 50, this is 100, this is 150, and the remaining part here is, so now we have everything, right? So remain y. So y is going to be the, don't forget that when it comes to a rectangle, our interest is just this corner here, this corner here. That is our interest. So it's going to be this line here, which is 200, right? This is 50, 100, 150, 200. So y is 200. Okay. So x is 160, y is 200, w is 80. So let's see if I can remember all these values. So we're going to start with the door now. Let's say the door. So we say that we're going to have our rect. So we said x is 160, y is 200, w is 80, and the height is 120. So we can look at the corner later on, but let's see. Oh, this is nice. So if you want to add the corner, let's add 10. Let's see how sharp those edges is going to be. And we can make the color of the door to have a feel. So we can say feel to be maybe red. I don't want to have a red door. Okay. Or we can say orange. All right. This is nice. So which means that we can give these two windows also their own unique color. All right, so this is very nice, and this is the end of this class. So now what I want you to do is to be able to draw a small cycle here and place it on this door here, because if you look at the diagram we have a door knobs here. So I want you to add a knob here, and also see if you can add some oval shape here, like some ellipse here, or a cycle or a egg falling down, or just add these shapes here so that you can complete the whole project. And that is all, and I hope you really enjoyed the video. So please give the video some, so like the video and share the video. Thank you. Bye.